Hi everyone, welcome back to Carols of Wisdom from my first Know by Year. Today's video is going to be about debunking that hedonism narrative, the YOLO reason to buy anything that you want. This is going to be a similar thought process to a video from last week where I shared about how everything is a justification to buy. Anything can be a reason to buy it, and that's kind of the reason we should not. This is going to focus specifically on that concept of YOLO, or existential dread. What a fun topic, right, for Christmas. We're getting it out of the way early, right, so we can focus on more festive topics as the holiday really approaches in earnest. Or at least that's what I'm telling you now. So basically the idea that tomorrow is not guaranteed and that life exists for pleasure, and that's kind of the epitome of the human experience and what we are trying to get out of life in general, is one of the justifiers to buy what we want and to have what we want and to use the resources we have in pursuit of things that will make us happy, no matter how surface level that happiness is. And I think what I find is that marketing really goes hard with that at this time of year. Or I see that in marketing narratives a lot, where, you deserve to treat yourself. Go book this trip now, travel getaways for the holiday season. Go visit somewhere hot and summery and go to this resort, you deserve it. You need a break. Buy the things that they want most for Christmas, whether it's gift shopping or shopping for oneself. These narratives run rampant where it's like, you deserve what you want. You should buy what you want. You don't even have to fabricate the need for it this time of year. You can buy whatever you want because it's Christmas. And I'm guilty of that mentality too. I had kind of a discussion on that earlier in November about gift-giving occasions and how they still feel to me like the reasonable time to buy something you want but don't need, and something that you know you want but don't need, and something that you know you don't need, if you follow all that logic down to the base of it. And I do think that our environment of growing anxiety, and I am about to read The Anxious Generation, so a book that kind of talks about how the environment of social media is creating higher anxiety in online culture. So I will have sources, even if I don't for this video. I think this environment is creating more of that YOLO hedonism mentality of enabling people to get what they want. And part of it might just be because a lot of people are making a lot of money by selling you things that they can make you want or justify buying on your behalf because you deserve it and let's live for today. But the thing is, tomorrow is going to come until it doesn't. And when tomorrow comes, it will come with new desires, new wishes to chase, new things to want, new things that you've been exposed to, new things that you've seen for the first time and you might be starting to think about. And more time will be spent chasing those desires, fantasizing about those things. And this will take away the time you have in each of your tomorrows, taking away from the time you could be spent on positively cumulative things, a life's work or a life's mission, which consuming and hoarding things, material goods, certainly is not. They say nothing in life is easy, nothing worth it is easy, nothing good in life is free, all of these things. And when we buy stuff, it's not free, but it is kind of free of the work and the commitments, other than the dollars in our bank accounts, which I don't know if all of us are great at associating dollars with work or time or commitment. I know I am not. So I'll speak for myself. I'm not great at viewing the dollars in my bank account, money, as a representation of my work and my time. Part of that might be because I love what I do and I would do it even if I wasn't paid for it. I would have to find another way to make money and therefore have less time, but I would still be doing a lot of the stuff that I do without getting paid and having it as my job. So that might be a danger of having a job you love. Never work a day in your life, but also have bad money management because you don't feel like you worked for your money. What a great tagline for pursuing your dreams. Anyway, even with the arguably poor association of time to money, of work to money, effort to money, I can still appreciate that by buying things, buying things can be done in an instant, like that. And sure, the process of receiving the thing, wanting the thing, fantasizing about the thing, the whole process from start to finish, what I'm trying to say. When you see the thing, want the thing, think about the thing, fantasize about how you're going to use the thing, maybe even plan about it, make videos about wanting the things if you're my channel this year. Click purchase, right? Accumulate the funds, save the money, click buy, and wait for the thing, track the emails, get the thing, try the new thing on, use the thing. All of that can take a while, okay. But it's not really the same as cultivating a skill or knowledge or doing a series of tasks that lead to a greater result, right? Ultimately, if you want a pair of pants and you buy a pair of pants, the only thing that happens at the end of that is you have a pair of pants. So it's not the same as putting in a little bit of work every single day to a skill that you're improving. And at the end of the time of putting in all those hours of work, you now have the ability to do something that you could not do before. Or you now have acquired knowledge that gives you a different perspective that you didn't have before. These are things that you can't buy, and you can't even buy what it takes to get from point A to point B. You can buy a book, sure, but you can't buy the ability to read. You can buy a reading tutor, okay, but you can't buy the will to go to the tutoring class and put in the mental cognitive efforts to get from point A to point B. You just have to have it. You have to cultivate it within yourself. You can't purchase that for yourself. It's like I was talking about on Thanksgiving, 5 things that I want that can't be bought. The creativity, the curiosity, and to some degree the motivation. I know the dopamine pathways kind of give us this illusion that by buying something and activating those motivator pathways, we are tapping into that motivation, but we're not actually using it towards anything constructive. We're using it to fixate on an item. And again, this is why I don't generally keep a wish list, because I feel like it gives that illusion of using motivation to get something done. And by buying something off of a wish list, by thinking about it, comparing it, having this kind of cognitive process, this cerebrally involved process, makes it feel like I'm using my brain to do something constructive when I'm actually not. And part of what this channel has done for me this year is given me this kind of constructive outlet to do all this brain work and realize that I need to stop doing it. And that's why I said yesterday that one of my plans for next year is to set a framework of whether I should buy something that I want but don't need, and just abide by that so I can remove all the thought. And whether my framework works for everybody is another matter, right? You might have to tailor something like this or think of your own. But I want to remove all of the thinking, the overthinking, the process-related things that I do related to wanting and buying things so that I can be free of it and use my cognitive powers towards more lasting projects, things that I can look back at and be proud of. And while this channel honestly is one of them for me, it represents a lot of growth, a lot of mental development, a lot of work, I'm not necessarily proud of the fact of the matter of, sitting here and speaking about stuff for so long with you. I'm more proud of the community that we have built together and the ability to learn how to post and edit videos to some degree, and to kind of, the skills that I've learned through this are what I value, and the mental growth is what I value. And okay, maybe some of that couldn't have been done without the ruminating about the stuff. And sure, there was a place and a time for that. But I think if I continue to sit here and ruminate about stuff in the same ways, that does not represent growth. And I want to put my brain power towards actual growth by kind of freeing up, creating a sequence that frees up the thought process that I've been doing this whole year as far as not buying stuff, right? I guess it's kind of like creating a software that'll run all the tests for me so that I don't have to actually be there presently to do it in person. Anyway, this started as a chat about YOLO and existential dread, and here we are examining how to focus our own creative power for the greater good. And maybe that's where we should go. Maybe that's where the answer to existential dread lies, in having these cumulative creative pursuits. You can't complete a work of art in the amount of time it takes to buy an eyeshadow palette or a pair of pants or whatever it is that you're looking at. It takes very little time to click buy. And okay, maybe it takes time to earn the money or apply for the credit card or whatever. Maybe it's a little simplistic to say it takes an instant to buy something. But the practical aspect of the matter is that we can be here on our phones, on our tablets, on our computers, and we can buy all these things at the click of a button and feel like our brain can feel like that it's done something, that it's set some balls in motion, and it has in some levels, on some levels, it's true. And I think that's why we trick ourselves into having that feeling that we would otherwise only get from doing something, from setting some real balls in motion on the road of accomplishment, on the road of skill acquisition, on the road of pursuing deeper, more meaningful projects. And I think that is ultimately my answer to YOLO. You only live once. So you might as well make your life meaningful and do something you've always wanted to do. Cultivate a skill that you admire in other people. Focus on the fact that you have the capability. Every human is born capable of doing something with their lives. And whatever that thing may be is up to you. And the sky's the limit, right? Taylor Swift was a normal human. She was born a normal baby. And now, she might be one of the most iconic pop artists of all time or whatever, but she really is a human just like us. And there's, they say Beyonce has the same 24 hours in a day. It started that way. Maybe that's not true now, but it did start that way at some point. And okay, there's something to be said for generational wealth and people born with the silver spoon in their mouth and whatever. But in the sense of human value, that's not something that can be purchased or inherited. Maybe the ease of our lives in certain regards can be, as far as not having to spend our cognitive efforts in survival pursuits if we are born with enough money to live for the rest of our lives and don't have that kind of level of pressure. But ultimately, the same conundrum will come up as far as what do we want to do with our lives? And whether we have to pair what we want to do with an income-generating activity if we need to earn income to survive. That might be the epitome of what we could do with our lives if we are forced to support ourselves by making income, as most of us are. And even if we don't necessarily associate our income-generating activity with what we want to do in the world, we have the ability to work on these projects, what we want to do, what we want to achieve, what we want to accomplish, what skills we want to develop in small ways, even if it's totally removed from our jobs or our livelihoods. So anyway, those are the thoughts I will leave you with today, with a little bit of Carol of the Bells. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as always.